Tell me this, sir. What is this future going to be in terms of America incorporated as a business model? Because a lot of the things that America used to be great for, manufacturing, for example, they've changed so dramatically and become so global, you can't really just go back and do that again, even if you had the money to do it. America needs to find other business models, doesn't it?
Well, it is. It's in the middle of it. We're in the middle of that process. And honestly, in manufacturing, there's been growth primarily because we found these new technologies to bring us energy. We have more natural gas, as I'm sure you know, than Saudi Arabia has oil. So there's some changes, and people are coming back here because it's cheaper to do business in America. But I think what's more important is the average American. The average American, if we're sitting and waiting for the government to come up with the answer for us, or the president to come up with a vision, you're going to have a problem. If you've been on unemployment for 12 million Americans, those jobs are probably not coming back. It's time to retool. It's time to say, where is the next opportunity? Is it in healthcare? Is it in green? Where am I going to go to get the skills? Because no one else, unfortunately, right now, the government's going to step up and say, here's a pathway. So you've got to find it for yourself.
How morally responsible should big, successful companies, we've seen Starbucks do this, and we've seen Apple begin to dip its toe in the water, and I banged on about this a lot.
We talked about that last time.
Right, and Apple since then have done something, but only a small thing, but it was a start. But it's about the principle, really, of great American companies, and in the tech world, I mean, they lead the world, but a lot of the stuff's outsourced outside of America. It doesn't really help the American jobs market, even though by being successful companies, they do in that way.
Yes. I think you got to look at it in the context, just like you're talking about looking back through history. If you and I were having this discussion 100 years ago, 40% of Americans were farmers. Today it's 2%, and we don't just feed America, we feed the world. When technology comes and displaces it, it's a chance for us to take those resources and redeploy them. What's missing is the leadership to say, here's where you got to go. The average person, listen, I donated 1 million meals last year personally, not my foundation. We've done 4 million meals together. I believe in helping people that are down. But if you take people for 2 years and you take care of them and you don't give them new skills, they lose confidence, they lose certainty. And I find that they're going to become institutionalized and not being able to be part of a new future. So I think our job is to say, here are the tools to help you get to the next level of your life so you can help create the new American Revolution.
When you talk about this transformation from post-traumatic stress in all its guises to post-traumatic growth, it's an interesting phrase. Explain what you mean by that.
Well, it's actually science, but it's not well studied. There aren't a lot of people. Most people know everything about post-traumatic stress, where someone has had a trauma and it severely affects them for the rest of their life. They have shakes or tremors or headaches, they can't sleep, nightmares. But there are people that have gone through the exact same trauma, and they found a way inside themselves to trigger that into a drive where they no longer are broken and where they heal. And when they do, there's 3 things that people find who they've done the studies on. If you make it to the growth side, where you're expanding and where you're able to deal with it, the number one thing is you find out that you're more powerful than anything you ever thought. You're bigger than any event if you're still alive. Second thing that happens, you find out who your real friends are. You're not your Facebook friends, the people that care, that show up, and those relationships, Pierce, they deepen. And the third thing is, it's almost like you have antibodies. You have this set of muscles that allow you to deal with things in the future. And what people do in that area is they decide, I won't be beaten by that, as corny as it sounds. They draw a line in the sand and go, I know if I continue down this road, my life's over. They make that decision. Then what they do is they find something bigger than themselves to go after, a mission. A woman loses her family member to drunk driving, and she starts MAD, for example, and now she's out there muzzling against drunk driving, making that shift. She has a mission larger than herself. And then they start stacking the small victories. And out of that, they get emotional muscle, and they're able to help other people.
Does it apply to any form of trauma, or are there grades of trauma?
I've seen it happen with people that have lost their children. I've seen it with people that have witnessed the death of people around them. People have lost limbs. So I haven't found any place where the human spirit is limited.
Great example of that coming up. After the break, I want to bring out somebody who's a survivor of a high school shooting. He's in a wheelchair. It's an incredible story, a young man. I know that you've been working with him, and I want to find out what you think about it.